Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Carolina Conservatives. We are preachers with a punch, and man, are we going to be punching once again this week. I am Dr. Nathan Street.
I'm Pastor Alan Mashburn. Thank you for joining us. We have more filth to go through and expose.
Yes.
More garbage that are in our schools, accessible to our children, and we're getting pretty well tired of it, but I'll tell you, it gets worse. At every episode we say, this is going to be worse. This is going to be worse, but
this is the worst.
It seems like we get showed up every time.
I mean, it is just some of this stuff. I've known about for a few years, this sort of thing happening, but it's shocking yet even more when you see something that just seems to go above the pale here. And so, here's the thing that really bothers me the most. I mean, maybe not the most, but it does. I think I can add it to the list of things that really bother me is that there are people out there, Pastor, who are thinking of this stuff and writing it with the expressed purpose of putting it in children's hands. I mean, I saw this the other day in talking about, the drag shows that have been doing for children. We've been seeing a lot of that lately. There was a statement on Facebook that said, don't be thinking necessarily about the children, something like to the effect of the children that are going to the drag shows, but why do drag queens want to perform for children?
Exactly.
There is a big problem going on here.
Well, even that, I even had a pastor reach out to me, and I have great respect for him. I'm not criticizing him whatsoever. He said, but realize this is not so bad in our area. My reply was, not yet.
Right.
You don't become the salt to take out infection. You become the salt to prevent it.
Yeah.
And so we need to talk about it even before it gets here.
Yeah, salt is a preservative.
Exactly.
We are to preserve. We are to conserve. That's why we are called conservatives. We are to conserve that which God has given us. And we shouldn't be laying down on the job. There is a reason why we sing the song Onward Christian Soldiers. There is a reason why we sing the song Keep on the Firing Line.
And stand up for Jesus.
Stand up for Jesus. It's not something that, nothing's going on right now in my backyard, so I'm just going to lay down and keep quiet. No, you ensure that mess doesn't come, and you be the sentinel. You be Nehemiah. You're the watchman on the wall. You go and build that wall, yet you hold the sword in the other hand. That's exactly what we've been called to do. You don't let those things sneak in unawares, because that's what the devil wants to do, is get a foothold in,
right.
And then he's going to be able to go as far as he wants to go.
Right, and that's our job, and that's exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. And this is unpleasant. I would rather be doing something else. But this is exactly what we need to be doing right now. Our children deserve the best. They're not getting the best. This is certainly not the best. And as Dr. Street just said, there's someone sitting out there thinking about this, thinking it up, and we're going to have an incest scene today.
Yes.
There's someone out there thinking this garbage up, and they're thinking it's fine, and the people that's bringing it into the schools evidently want to normalize it as well. This is not normal. And if you think exposing a child to this is good, then you need to get out of education. You need to get away from children. In fact, I'd say you shouldn't even live within 3 miles of a school.
No, you should definitely be on the sex offender list, and everyone know about it. I mean, it's that serious. I mean, it is, folks. What we're about to do yet again is going to be filled with language. It's going to be filled with profanity. There are going to be, I mean, even some of this, if we can get this shown too. Some of these cartoon characters that are nude, some of them are children cartoon characters that are nude. It is pornographic. One of these is extremely pornographic.
And it's ages 10 and up is what is recommended.
I mean, I'm assuming two men that have written this, Roby H. Harris and Michael Emberley, wrote this first book. Is called It's Perfectly Normal. So we want to make sure that you all understand that moving forward here, that if you're a sensitive listener, I say grow up and start being less sensitive, because this is the realism. This is real. This is what's happening. And those of you who also, what Pastor was saying, that you were thinking that, well, this isn't happening in my area, I would challenge you that it probably is, and you don't know it. That it is happening in these schools, because some of these schools that we have found these books are in fairly conservative areas. Folks, there is a purpose. There is not only a purpose to sexualize children, but there is a purpose out there that the left has inculcated into these areas, that it is their mission to liberalize and leftize, make these areas that have been stronghold conservative to really damage the upcoming generation, so that everyone becomes liberal. The old saying is every generation becomes more and more liberal. So that is the idea behind this, is let's just open this up so that anything goes, everything under the sun goes, so that when we come in, we can stay in power for the rest of the time. So I want to make sure that you understand that this is where we are. This is real. You don't be so sensitive, but if children are listening, that you do need to be aware of this, that we don't want children to hear this, but we do want you to be aware of what's coming up.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add before you begin that, you look at all the other nations of the world, this is intentional. America is the only country, I won't say the only country, but this is the primary target for this garbage.
Oh, yes.
Because you look at Japan, you look at other leading economies in the world, you look at China, you look at, and I know they're our adversary on a number of fronts, but you look at these countries and they are very much in tune and involved in what they allow in their school system, because they realize exactly how important their educational system is and how influential it is. But here in America, there is an onslaught of attacks upon our public education system.
Yes.
They've not only attacked the system, but they have infiltrated the system very well.
Yes.
And so they're using this to tear down the nuclear family, to tear down the very image of God in every created being that they can. They want God's sovereignty and his perfection question in creation. They deny creation. They say they're atheists, but they're not. They're just denying God. But the point is, they want to dismantle. They want to dismantle the home. They want to dismantle children, and they want to make anyone and everyone question their very existence. Because if there are no absolutes, there's no boldness to do anything. There's no ambition to achieve or ambition to go higher in there's no goals. And so that's where they want the populace. Why? Because you can control them. You can control a populace like that. So now let's go, and we issue the warning. This is very, very graphic. And if you're listening by podcast, you're going to be spared a lot, because you're going to see this if you watch the video. Many more people download and watch the videos than the audio.
Right.
And that's the reason why we put this on there. We don't enjoy doing it, but what you're about to see and hear is real, and we're going to show you the schools that this garbage is in.
I actually encourage you, if you are listening, that you do go to the video for this and see, because this is shocking, and you will see some really that graphic images that are being put in the hands of children. Again, this book is called It's Perfectly Normal. It has across the top now, folks, million copy bestseller. Million copy bestseller. There are people out there buying this for their children or themselves and their own sick perversions. And it even says for ages 10 and up. Mm-hmm. Shocking what this. So chapter 4, the title of chapter 4 is called Making Love Sexual Intercourse. Sexual intercourse happens when two people, a male and a female, or two females or two males, feel very sexy and very attracted to each other and want to be very close to each other in a sexual way. When a female and a male are so close that the male's penis goes inside the female's vagina, the vagina stretches in a way that fits around the penis. When this happens, it is possible for a female and a male, once their reproductive organs have grown up, to make a baby. Most people don't have sexual intercourse only when they want to have a baby. Most people have sexual intercourse because it feels good. People have sexual intercourse well into old age. And so then they go on into talking more about sexual intercourse. But there is a picture here, a picture of a female and a male naked on a bed, and she is on top of him. A cartoon character picture.
This book was obviously written before the idea that men can get pregnant.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Absolutely.
It needs to be revised.
It needs to be revised once again, you know, because hey, who are we to say that men can't get pregnant? Page 15 in this book has, I was shocked at this, but different body styles of different women, completely naked, their breasts showing, their pubic area showing, a baby, and males too. A 12-year-old boy, maybe a 12 or 13-year-old girl, males with different body styles with their penis showing dramatically. And one of the cartoon characters who is walking through this asks the question, what's the big deal? What's the big deal?
And normalizing, again, what's the title of the book?
Yeah, it's perfectly normal.
It's perfectly normal to have nudity in a book, perfectly normal, but then go beyond that, children. That's where they're headed, to normalize pedophilia.
Yeah. The next page 17, has probably a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl who is bending over, showing her backside, and looking at a mirror that she is holding down between her legs so that she can see the opening of her vagina, the anus, the opening of the urethra, and you can see her breasts there as well. And even it says, the words say, if a girl or woman is curious about what these openings look like, she can hold a mirror between her legs and take a look. It's actually advocating that children go and do that sort of thing. And it shows it. I mean, it shows it as a cartoon character of a young girl that is doing this. And it's shocking. And then page 28, it talks about the traveling of the egg and menstruation, makes it into a comic book sort of feel here, and talks about and just basically shows what happens with the egg. And then excerpt from page 36. The title is called Not All at Once, Growing and Changing Bodies. Has the picture of a naked woman standing at her bureau and holding up a bra, and is talking about puberty, talking about a girl's hips grow wider so that if and when she decides to have a baby, her baby will have enough room to leave the uterus. Talking about all of this stuff for a 10-year-old, by the way. I want to remind everyone that is for a 10-year-old. Excerpt from page 41, locker rooms, with girls standing naked in the locker room, and on the right side, boys standing naked in the locker room. It is, once again, cartoon characters of sexualized issues. And then page 43 teaches children how to masturbate. During puberty, when the sex hormones cause boys and girls' sex organs to become more active, many kids begin to have even more pleasurable and excited feelings about their own bodies. And they may also be more attracted and interested in other people's bodies. Oh, let's get more interested in other people's bodies, Pastor, at age 10. These feelings are often called sexual feelings or feeling sexy. Even though they are hard to describe, they are normal feelings that happen. Now, that is true. They are normal feelings. But again, why are we even having this discussion with 10, 11, 12-year-olds here? Boys and girls, teenagers, grown-ups too, experience sexy feelings when they masturbate. Masturbation is touching or rubbing any of your body's sex organs for pleasure because it feels good. One everyday term for masturbating is playing with yourself. Some people think that masturbation is wrong or harmful, and some religions call masturbation a sin. But masturbating cannot hurt you, and it does not result in pregnancy or in getting or passing on infections that spread through sexual contact. And of course, they've got a picture of a girl masturbating laying down and a boy sitting on his bed masturbating. Very graphic pictures. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then finally, pages 66 and 67 talks about how to use contraception and how to put a condom. Shows a boy putting a condom on his penis and pulling it off. Condoms are called rubbers because they are usually made out of a rubbery material called latex. And then also female contraceptions, the pill, also other IUDs and other things like that, to show children how to use these sorts of things that should be reserved for an adult relationship inside the bonds of marriage. But of course, there's not anything in here about that. We don't want to talk about marriage. It's just about how sex occurs between two men and two women, or a man and a woman, whenever they feel sexy. Sexiness shouldn't really be happening unless it is between a man and a woman who is married. And of course, they don't want to talk about that. But this is, you'll see some of these pictures, folks, are absolutely shockingly pornographic that is being put in the hands of 10-year-olds from these two, I'm guessing, two men who have thought up of this stuff and has drawn these pictures, particularly the children's pictures, naked children's pictures, is kind of, especially the naked babies, kind of shocking.
It's perversion. And they're trying to normalize their perversion, and that's the issue. That's the problem. There's several categories in books. There's obscenity.
Yep.
There's inappropriate, age inappropriate, and then there's pornographic. When you offer pictures, you are in the land of pornography.
Yes.
And then you have a picture of a naked baby.
Yeah.
I mean, really? I really upon all of that, but a naked baby, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
The reason is they want to normalize that it's okay to look at a child of all ages to sexualize them.
Desensitization.
Exactly.
They're looking to desensitize us to this idea of child pornography is okay. And folks, listen, there are child pornographers out there that, so they don't get in trouble with child pornography, they will draw children and create comic book characters like that in highly sexualized functions. So there is something out there for that is occurring, and it is to desensitize us. And that is exactly what's happening here. They want to desensitize our children.
And yet it's against the law to have actual pictures of children. But if you draw them, there's no law against it. It's protected under the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Folks, this is garbage. We've allowed, if there's no law out there that protects our children, then we need to call on the General Assemblies to make a law to do this, because this is doing nothing but causing our children to be subjected to perversion, and it's offering them the very opposite of what we need to offer them. This garbage was not in school when I was in school. This garbage was not in school in the generation before us. And you see how well we have operated because of that. I think we turned out pretty well in the sense of the educational system versus not having this, or versus having this.
Right.
So My point is, this is totally bringing our children to a brand new low, offering them the very garbage of the world that they should be learning in the confines of marriage with their mates, with their spouses. If their parents, they go to their parents, then their parents need to teach it.
That's right.
I didn't have to go to anyone. I mean, to be honest with you, when you get married, things become automatic.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's kind of built in. You'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I don't have to be educated so much by book or pictures or anything like that. That is to be figured out with you and your spouse.
Right.
And that's the way God created it, because it's a beautiful thing. It represents His love and His tenderness and intimacy between Him and His church, those
That's right.
who are born again. So the world seeks to disrupt and distort and delude everything that God has established.
We certainly don't need these sorts of miseducation books like this. You know, if parents won't have those conversations with their children, that should be a parental conversation. That should not be coming from a book that is designed to miseducate your children, or coming from the school that is designed to give you a secularized viewpoint of what sex should be. This should be happening. These are conversations that should be happening between the parent and the child, or later on between the adults in a marriage relationship. But folks, it does get worse. The New York Times bestseller, the book Identical, by Ellen Hopkins, and if you recognize that name, we did a book by Ellen Hopkins before. We exposed it, called Crank. This one follows right along with suit. Again, a sick, perverted human being, this Ellen Hopkins, who is sitting around thinking of this stuff. Now, I will give a special warning on this, because this has an incest rape scene.
Hey, before we go to that, before we leave, It's Perfectly Normal.
Oh yeah, where is that? What school is that?
Let's put on the screen and put on audio where these books are located. Davidson County Schools, fairly conservative county, I believe. North Davidson Middle. Guilford County School, to be honest, we haven't found an accurate list on that, but we know that it's in Guilford County. Wake County Schools, how much time do you have? Lincoln Heights Elementary
School.
Carroll Middle, Centennial Campus Middle, Davis Drive Middle School, Wendell Middle School, Louisville Road Middle School, Reedy Creek Middle School, Wendell Middle School, Enloe High School, and that's just a quick search. We are talking with the research team of the Pavement Education Project, and their goal is to have a team across the state. Catherine Truitt, it would be great if we would have a repository online of this book.
We need that.
But we don't. We've grown not to expect that. But that's where this particular book is, and if we find it any more, we'll update the list. But now we go to Identical.
Folks, there are some of those schools, some of those areas that I know are conservative areas. Those schools serve conservative areas. And some of you who think, well, this isn't happening in my community. Yes, it is. Some of these are conservative areas that are being attacked here. So, Identical by Ellen Hopkins. And again, folks, this is very raw, but I'm going to read it word for word. And some of the things that are being said here. And there are quite a bit of profane words here. So, listen carefully. He drops me real, real low. I'm floating on a poppy sea, naked, mellow, but a sudden wind rouses the brakes and low tide builds to major swells. Ty kisses me, all fang, pure vampire. Hey, take it easy. But somehow my body responds to the pain, and Ty responds to that, clamping one hand around both my wrists, pulling them up over my head and pinning me helpless. It is then I notice the nylon cord, one end tied tight to the headboard. Ty's voice is almost a snarl. This is one of his favorite games. He wraps the rope around my wrist, knots it tightly, escape-proof. I shake my head. Don't. But he does. Should I scream? Would anybody hear? Like any of that spiritual mumbo-jumbo ever did her or any of us one minuscule sliver of good. Daddy had been back to Kaylee for lollipop licking, my term. A few times, she had a vague notion that it was wrong, but she wasn't sure why and didn't know who to ask. They'd probably just be jealous. That warm summer night, she slept in a thin white nightie, nothing more, nothing at all under, the moon full, shimmered against the tan of her exposed skin, and her hair whispered over the pillow like a pale waterfall. As usual, the smell of wild turkey, as in the alcoholic drink, preceded Daddy. In the bright moonlight, you could see Kaylee cringe in shallow sleep. Daddy crept through the door to the side of her bed, stood looking down for a very long time before stirring. Kaylee was used to Daddy's visits, but that night she too felt something different in the air. Rage, lust, sorrow, perversion, all mingled in Daddy's sweat. There was nothing gentle about how he threw back the covers. Already naked, he pushed Kaylee roughly to one side, flopped beside her. I could tell she was afraid. This wasn't her Daddy. This was a demon, his evil hard and sharp as a steel blade ready to slice into her. It did. His attack was brutal, bloody, worthless, except for a vicious shut the fuck up at her pitiful scream, a plea to please. Oh no, Daddy, no, it hurts. Oh, I cowered, sick at the sight, but unable to divorce myself from the horror. I felt Kaylee's pain, and when Daddy was done and she cried, I cried too. Leave me alone. What's wrong with you? Do you remember who I am? Who are you? This is not a father's love. I want to scream. Can't you see what you're doing to me, what you've done to me, what you've made of me? I want to cry out. I am your little girl. I am not your girlfriend. I am not your whore. I am not my fucking mother. But he is on top of me, and my shout is silenced. He is inside of me, and my scream stays there too. He is finished, and I don't cry out, but I do cry a bucket of silent tears. He slithers away, and at last I quietly sob. No, 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 no. And this is located, by the way, Alamance County Schools, Western Alamance, Eastern High, Graham High, Cummings High, Williams High, in Carteret County, at Croatan High and East Carteret High, and in Wake County, Apex High, Broughton High, Enlow High, Garner High, Heritage High, Holly Springs High, Leesville Road High, Middle Creek High, Millbrook High, Panther Creek High, Roseville High, South Garner High. Apparently, Wake County really loves this kind of filth because they've got it in a lot of schools. Folks,
your tax dollars.
That's your tax dollars. That's your tax. You're paying to have this garbage put in the schools. How do you like that?
And Ellen Hopkins, the author of Crank and the author of this, you're a pervert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a sick individual.
Yep. And you need to be barred from being in any school, especially a middle school, an elementary school. Shoot, I would bar you from being in any school.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near a school. I wouldn't want you anywhere near children. Folks, again, I've asked this question once before, but I'll ask it again. Would you want an author like that to be in a room alone with your child? Would you want that? And then I'll pose this. Would you want a school employee who bought this? Because it took a school employee to buy this, to put in the libraries, by the way. Would you want that school employee to be in the room alone with your children after they've read this and know what's in it and then bought it for the school? Well, they are oftentimes in the room alone with your child. You should know something is amiss when somebody reads this garbage and says, you know what, I think I'm going to buy this and put it in my elementary school or my middle school or my high school for those children to read. Do you not care about the children?
Yeah.
Would you give this to your child, is what I ask too of you parents. Would you give this to your child? And I'm sure that the most of you would say no, but yet you're still sending them to the school where they can go into the library and get this whenever they want. And there is somebody in this school who is handing this stuff to your child and says, go ahead, read this. You might like it.
That's who I want to meet. I want to meet who's actually ordering these. I want to hold them accountable. I want to look them in the eye. I want to know, why are you choosing to do this? I want to hear what they have to say. And then I want to see them fired. because if that's the only garbage that they can pick for, then they are not qualified to be a media specialist or a librarian that furnishes wholesome materials to our children. Because if that's what you consider good literature for a young, developing, informative mind, then you're not qualified to be around children. In fact, you are a detriment to them, and I would say a threat, because what are you thinking? If you're enjoying this, what are you thinking? What do you think about at home? Are you fantasizing about this? Are you fantasizing about these things happening? Because if you are, there is really a deeper problem here. It's a spiritual problem.
Yes.
It's a problem that only Christ can handle. But if you reject Christ, then you're just left to your own devices. Now, I want to know. I want to know why someone wants this in the school. I know ultimately why, but this is just completely lunacy.
Yeah, it is shocking, and it, folks, it is. There is nothing. Every time that I read these, by the way, Pastor, there is nothing at all exciting about this. Mm-hmm. It's sickening, and because every time I think about children that are getting this and that are being destroyed, that are being mentally abused by this, that are being getting an idea of sex as some nasty, horrible thing here, when that is not at all how God created it to be, and thinking that this is the idea of what sex is supposed to be.
And when you consider our state budget, I think I was told yesterday that it's up to 59%. I'll have to double check on that, but the source that told me is a former person in government as well, so I believe he's probably correct. But the point is, with a budget, our choice is to throw money at everything. If the climate, if it's getting hot, if it's summer, God forbid it's summer, we just woke up and realized it's hot, it's summer, and people are children will die if if they're left in a car and they can't get out. I mean, I can't understand that either. But we'll throw money at climate change. We'll throw money at everything. 59% budget of our state budget, $16 billion, $17 billion, and we don't even have children that can read proficiently. No. We don't even have children that can operate in mathematics and reading skills and critical thinking. But yet you go on GoFollet.com during when school is in session. You look at these books, and you look at books like Old Yeller, To Kill a Mockingbird, or classics such as that. Guess which books that I've noticed that are actually checked out? Because you have a child's mind is inquisitive, and the flesh is designed this way. Our flesh that we deal with, if you're a believer, you have three main enemies in this world: the flesh, the devil. And that's who you have to contend with. Right. The flesh is something that we all have, and even in a child, when a child learn something, or he sees something, or she sees something that entices them, they're going to want to go check it out, especially if they're permitted to. Right. Or encouraged to. Encouraged. That's human nature. Go on GoFollet.com during school session, and you'll see what books are checked out, and you'll see what books aren't. Yeah, that's true. And my point is, they're not reading the classics, thus we're not putting out the same quality of students that you and I. Yes. Not that we were great, or I was great. You got a doctorate, I haven't yet. But not that we were great students. But my point is, look at what we're putting out. Yeah. By the way, there is a statistic. By the way, what Pastor was talking about with math, Guilford County Schools particularly, algebra pass rate for algebra, 8%. 8%. One number, 8%. 8% of the whole student body of the county? Of everyone who took algebra that year, 8% passed. Wow. Folks, yet this is what we're giving them to read and to study, right? And so we move on to this one. A New York Times bestseller, another one. New York Times bestseller. Lauren Miracle, Myracle, sounds like a fake name to me. That is called Later Gator, L8R, G8R, written in text speak, because this book is a conversation between three best friends
about the highs and lows of high school, and they do it through text messaging. Again, this is designed specifically to reach teenagers because you put it, teenagers are used to text speak. Mm-hmm. And so this excerpt is between Zoe Girl and Snow Angel. Oh God, he better not. Snow Angel says, so spit or swallow? Zoe Girl, I swallowed, but I don't think I'm going to next time. I'll just tell him very politely so he's not offended. You can pretty much guess what she spit or swallowed. Snow Angel, I bet he'll be okay with it. What's he going to say? No way. In that case, no blowjobs for you, Missy. Zoe Girl, I don't want a blowjob. Snow Angel, you know what I mean. Zoe Girl, Doug tried to go down on me. Geez, that sounds dorky, but I was like, no, that's okay. Snow Angel, why? Zoe Girl, like you said, the whole odor thing, but in reverse. Eck, I'm blushing just talking about it. Yeah, you and us both. Snow Angel, what about plain old sex? If you're embarrassed to have him go down on you, won't you be embarrassed to have sex? Zoe Girl, that's different, but maybe. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, which I guess will be soon, because pill-wise, I'm 1 day away from being safe. Can you believe it? But I leave for Tennessee tomorrow, so there goes that good timing. Snow Angel, which means you'll have more time to get ready. And Zoe Girl says, exactly. And then Snow Angel in another page, I promise. Mad Maddie, another child here. Yeah, whatevs, of course. Zoe Girl, because it really is a big deal. It's something I'll remember forever, and it's something Doug will remember forever. We will always be each other's firsts. Snow Angel, we get it. Now spill. Zoe Girl, the complicated part was getting it in. It wasn't effortless like in the movies. I knew it wasn't going to be like in the movies. I'm not clueless, but part of me still expected that it would happen naturally, the getting it in part. Mad Maddie, it didn't happen naturally? What are you saying? That you used a... Never mind, I'll be good. Snow Angel, what were you going to say, a forklift? Mad Maddie, no, a crowbar, but a forklift's even better, more complimentary to Doug. Zoe Girl, you guys, no jokes. Snow Angel, okay, so how did you get it in? Sits attentively with pen and paper. Zoe Girl, he kind of guided it in with his hand. I tried to help, but I felt pretty fumbly. Snow Angel, did it hurt when it finally happened? And then another page. Snow Angel, I just played a trick on Aunt Sadie, tee-hee. Remember that sex toy party her friend wanted to have? Zoe Girl, vaguely, I remember the pole dancing party. Snow Angel, well, the sex toy party is part of that whole lineup, and Aunt Sadie finally agreed to host it, and it's set for next Thursday. Snow Angel, anyway, Emma, she's the sex toy woman, has been calling endlessly to pester Aunt Sadie about details. Would Aunt Sadie be willing to pose in lingerie? How many pairs of handcuffs would she bring? What about S&M? Is that going too far? How many of us even know what S&M is? I mean, and they're talking. These are supposed to be high school kids talking about this. Mm-hmm. Zoe Girl, good God, are they actually going to try the stuff out at the party? Snow Angel, the idea is to normalize the sex toys so that the women want to take them home to spice up their sex lives. But Aunt Sadie's insisting that Emma only bring the catalog. So she can do a pole dance for her innocent niece, but she's too embarrassed to pass around a vibrator. Zoe Girl, oh wow, this is not my mother's pampered chef party. Snow Angel, so a few minutes ago, Aunt Sadie was in the shower and her celly beeped. I picked it up and it was a text message from someone named Dilemma. Deal Emma, get it? And the message was, Sadie, 5 p.m. good? Snow Angel, so I typed back 5 p.m. great, but changed mind about dildos, bring lots, all sizes. Zoe Girl, Angela. Snow Angel, so now Emma's going to show up next Thursday with a humongous box of dildos. I love it. Zoe Girl, I don't understand the point of a dildo. Doesn't it just sound gross? A fake penis that flops around in your hand? Snow Angel, I don't get it either, although I don't think it flops. Do you think they make fake vaginas for men to use? Zoe Girl, ooh. I don't like the thought of any of that stuff. Can you imagine what Doug would say if I whipped out a pair of handcuffs the next time we were fooling around? Zoe Girl, that would prove you're not submissive, Zoe. The dominatrix, yeah. Cracks whip, swing. Zoe Girl, nice whip noise. Snow Angel, thanks. Are you and Mad Maddie still coming over to watch Pride and Prejudice? And then Snow Angel, that woman who called, turns out it wasn't Emma the sex toy guru. It was Emma, Aunt Sadie's personal banker. Zoe Girl, oh no. Snow Angel, they've got a late meeting tomorrow. That's what she was referring to. Zoe Girl, and you told her to bring dildos, lots, all sizes. Why would a personal banker be into my, and then it cuts off from there. This book is located in Alamance County Schools at Western Alamance High School. At Williams High and at Southern Middle School, that's what I have listed here.
And Northmore High School in Moore County, my home county. So we want that out. We want that out of all of them. So here's where we're going with that. And time prohibits us to go anymore. We're gonna include the other one that we have. We'll do that on the second episode. But here's what we're looking at. Where do we go from this? Yes, we're exposing this to parents, and parents need to be empowered, and parents need to know the truth, and you need to decide what you're going to do. But it's one thing to expose a problem. It's also another thing to come up with a solution. So that's what we want to do. We've been talking, and we'll reveal this when it's time, but we need a collective atmosphere of people when we sit down and come up with what we're going to do with this, because we need to not only affect the school boards in this state, we need a conservative takeover there.
Yes,
we need a change of the guard. We need change all over, and we must be that salt and light. We must do that, because this is garbage. This is in the minds of our children, and we have got to take this away from them. You wouldn't put a sharp knife in front of your child for them to be able to get it and harm themselves. This is a sharp knife. The librarians and the principals and the administrators, superintendents might say, well, if we take this out, we'll have to take out the Bible. Good grief. Maybe you need to open that Bible instead of taking it off the shelf.
Exactly.
Because this is completely detriment to the child's development, and it will lead nowhere but harm for them and eventually our nation, because we are what we put in our children. That's what we are. So you're training up a generation to do this garbage and do this filth. And by the way, I'll have more to say about the pronouns. I'm sick and tired of stupid pronouns.
Stupid.
If you send me an email and you got your preferred pronoun, you're going to get a deletion, and you might get something back, because I cannot stand that. That's stupid. I'm not buying into you. When you send me something and it says they or them,
yeah, who's with you?
You're saying that you have multiple personalities. Get on medication, dude. I mean, good grief, we used to treat things like that. I'm sick of it, and now we want to normalize garbage like this. Mm-hmm. So we have got to stand up. We have to stand up. We have to stand on the word. We have to stand in our place and be counted. And I hope that you're doing that. Stand up for your children. Stand up for your country. The times are unprecedented. This garbage is not going away.
No.
And if you want to sit on your couch, what we ought to do is create a law in every General Assembly and create a federal ban against couches and get you off of it. Because everybody's sitting on a darn couch. Get up and be counted. Get up.
It's time.
And everybody we talk to, these are women who's taking a stand.
Yes.
Guess who's behind majority of our research that we get, and we thank God for them?
Yes.
Women. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But my question is, where are the men?
Right.
Why in the world can't we have some men to stand up and be counted? Get out of your bars, get out of your slums, get out of your garbage, get out of your football games, get out of your baseball teams, get out of your extracurricular activities. Be counted. You're going to lose the stinking freedom that you enjoy.
Be a man.
Be a man. Go to the doctor, get a medical exam, and see what you have, what makes you a man. Stand up.
That's exactly right.
I'm sick and tired of it. Be somebody and stand up and take a stand for your children, your nation, your state, and get yourself in church.
That's right. You better take a stand, because, folks, guys, especially men out there, you're going to be held responsible. You're going to stand before God, and God is going to particularly hold you responsible for what you did and did not do. And if you choose to pass that buck on to the women that God has called you to be, then you're going to stand before God and have to make an account for that.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, I'll tell you what, Pastor and I, we are not going to stand before God and make an account for it. We are going to stand. And that's what we're doing right here. And we're about to run out of time here, and we want to come back to you, and we're going to be bringing more of this and shining forth a light on this so that we can see these cockroaches run. Mm-hmm. Pastor's right. This is not going away. If they get away with this, it's going to keep getting worse. We're going to stand in the gap. We're going to make sure that they're not going to get away with it. We're going to make sure everybody is aware. Come on board and help us to make everyone aware. We invite you to join us at Carolina Conservatives Preachers with a Punch. We are looking for you to sponsor our programming, to help us to grow, and we want you to send this out to as many people as you can, all your family members, especially those who have children, because we want parents to know what is happening in their schools. Come on board with us. Help us fight. Help us stand on these front lines, because we are going to win. We have got to, for the sake of our children. I'm Dr. Nathan Street.
I'm Pastor Alan Mashburn. I second everything you just said. We will look forward to next time. God bless you.